Hello, everyone. This is Paul Hogden from SEO Underground, and I am here with the man, the myth, the legend that is Peter van der Graaf. Peter, how are you?
Very good, Paul. I'm currently sort of how do you call it? A digital nomad working from Bali, Indonesia. It's
Yeah,
32 degrees here, quite humid, but yeah, better than working from the Netherlands.
I was going to say it didn't look very like the Netherlands in the background there. It looks rather
No,
nice.
miss the windmills and things like that, but yeah,
Oh,
there's palm trees here.
palm trees and hills, no doubt.
Palm trees and hills, yes, definitely.
Two things you don't see that often in the Netherlands. But well, I'm glad that you're out and about and enjoying the world. I guess that is one of the best benefits of working in the virtual world.
Yeah, working in the internet business and having your own websites to make a living, then you work anywhere as long as the internet connection is quite good. And at the moment, the internet connection seems steady. So
Seems okay, and we've had good since we've been doing our little chat. We've had good audio. I know it's dropped out a couple of times, but hey, that's the price you pay for being a digital nomad every now and again, and I think we can all live with that. But so for those who have never experienced Peter van der Graaf before, perhaps you could just tell people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and so forth, Peter.
check. So I've been working in SEO for over 25 years now. So I'm ancient, and most of the work I did was for regular clients. But yeah, working, for instance, starting out with porn, poker, and pills, the three Ps, and then working for a finance, travel, telecom, and many other types of clients. So I've done, yeah, the same work for all industries so far. So I probably haven't skipped any of the industries so far. And now I'm going to hopefully teach a lot of people more black hat tricks because I'm also a renowned black hat expert. I try a lot. I dabble a bit.
Yeah, and you always have. I mean, you blew everyone away last year with opinion sculpting. That was something else, and I think people's jaws just dropped open to think what was actually happening. And to realize that, of course, it is all being sculpted by people around the world, much like yourself. And it was a sort of a big eye opener, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what opinion sculpting is, I'm not going to talk about opinion sculpting this year, but opinion sculpting is making sure the right truth ranks better than the one that is less favorable to whatever topic you represent. So
Yeah.
you don't represent any commercial intent, but you represent the type of information people are able to find. For instance, if they want to make up their own opinion about the Ukraine, about the gas prices, about Brexit and the current economic crisis, about China and its risk and things like that, whatever you type in, it's all been sculpted. And I don't know who else does this in the world, but I've seen sculpting by all sides of a discussion.
Yes, really eye-opening. It was quite, I think in our naivety we all just believed that the best stories were up at the top. Of course, silly us, that of course isn't correct at all. But bloody marketers get everywhere, don't they? Marketers destroy everything for everyone, don't they? Oh, look at that. You've got a cocktail as well. Goodness me, Peter.
It's Bali. Come on. You don't need to work here.
That's true. So how do you think the landscape in sort of around SEO has changed in the past 12 months?
Oh, it's changed a lot, but all with predictable updates. So it's gotten, it's increased in the way that machine learning made way for instance, how do you see that content is quality content or matches the intent of the visitor, or so what types of templates, what types of content, what types of information should rank. And with Google's, for instance, even I would say ambiguous feeling of this is the right type of content and it's the only right type of content, you can use that to your advantage in many ways, not just by providing the right content yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting because you sort of spoke about the changes in the way that content is ranking. There does seem to be more onus on the sort of the broad types of content, doesn't there? And the way that it ranks.
Yeah, at the moment, the main thing is if you try to do everything in one page, for instance, give all types of answers with one page, it's not working anymore. So doing the best of all worlds and combining them into a single page or combining onto your single site won't help you anymore. No, now you have to choose, and not choosing is having a negative influence. So you need to choose, what do I feel, or what does the do the results show is the right type of answer that I should provide for a type of question. So do they match? Does the query match the answer on my page extremely well? Then having only one type of answer is better than trying to combine all uses and all types of visitor. And even though some things might be sought by many types of visitors, you should still choose. Not choosing is a bad thing.
Yeah. Do you think that skyscraper content, as it was called, is perhaps on its way out a little bit more now? And
yeah, the long reads where you just have one big column of text, shouldn't be the right answer anyways, but is now on its way out. If you don't have exactly the same content in a different template with different blocks of content, with different types of interactions possible with that content, with, for instance, the easy one would be, for instance, having we call it an FAQ accordion in the bottom. It should be an accordion and not just some long read content of the same answers and the same questions. Now, if you put it in the right format, it definitely has a positive effect, and that goes for a lot of types. So if you want to represent reviews, textual reviews, they should look like actual reviews. So there's more of a standardization of what should a review look like, what should an FAQ look like, what should all these types of answers look like, and that's seldom a long read.
And I guess now sort of clustering those in a smart way is probably the better way of doing it, as you say, than
diversifying. So the blocks should all represent a part of the answer. So for instance, if one of the answer is the awards you won, so expert reviews, one of the parts that you need to use for usability and for the right answer type, because certain answer types require you to exemplify, okay, your peers have reviewed me, they're fond of me. So having faces with stars below it and some quoted piece of text is the only type that Google accepts as a review. And not having that face, or not having, for instance, an icon of a face, shows that you're not exactly the same type of all the other reviews should represent. And that's the same for FAQ items. That's the same for each content where you exemplify, this is the author or this is the contribution by an expert on this piece of content. It should look like an author mentioning. So this site has been, or this content has been reviewed by this medical doctor, for instance. Is now in one format that you need. And there's some iterations of that format, but it's still a format that says, okay, this is the person, these are his credentials, this is the link to the author detail page, and this is the type of contribution that he gave, or he or she gave.
It's certainly they're certainly weeding out some of the wheat from the chaff, and sort of these meaningless, drivelly sort of articles that really leave you probably with more questions than answers. It's kind of the right thing. We all kind of know that it's the right thing, really, because we don't really sit there and read 6,000 word articles, do we? We just don't.
I seldom do. But if they're well structured to jump to a certain part of the page, then they become better, and I might read more. But a one-pager is now sort of a format for a particular type of answers. And for other types of answers, split them up into smaller sub-pages and the answers in the right format for that particular sub-question.
And
don't combine it into one page.
And when you think about it, because you're effectively doubling, tripling, quadrupling your chances by having several pages with smaller subsections, smaller answers on, you're increasing your chances of getting found by more people for that particular thing, for that particular part of the the answer anyway.
Usability wise, it also improves. So
right.
Whatever. So if I want to rank for SEO conference, for instance, buying tickets would be one thing that I want to know. But another thing, what conference to visit this year, and an agenda type of pieces of information is also then a type of information. Event calendars with structured data, with everything else. Starting your own conference would be another type of answer. So all these sub questions that are represented in different queries require different answers.
Wow. Yeah, that's that is quite a shift from the paradigm shift has been quite large in which case in the past sort of 12 to 24 months, isn't it?
They've always said we are moving towards this. We're just not able to do it yet. And now they seem to be getting closer and closer. But they tend to promote this one-trick pony type of content. So one type of content is promoted too much, and where's the other ones? I don't see a diversity of answers in the search results anymore. No, I see a diversity of answer types. So for instance, images, local search. But for the regular web answers, it becomes this one type of answer. Too much of the same, more of the same.
Yeah. So have you been, I know this is a silly question. Have you been testing or working on any SEO theories this year, Peter?
I've been testing a lot, more than usual, because I have all these clients from, I have 1,900 colleagues at the moment, and we have all these clients across Europe. I've joined a group with my company, and we have so many clients that I can test it on everybody. And there's always a client that something applies to or doesn't apply to in some cases. But I can dabble around much more, and they work with my standards. So they're all the same company. They're all using my methods, and I can instruct them quite well. So normally, if I share something to the Black Hat community, it's often going to be applicable to casinos, online casinos, or things like that. But does it also apply to a larger group of websites? So now I can see it on this huge group of clients, and even the grayer types also apply to all those industries. So in some cases, I can test and apply everything. And so this year, I've dabbled around in negative SEO more than usual, because I want to know all the nitty-gritty details of an algorithm, and doing it on external websites without them knowing it or being involved in any way allowed me to get better insights in how does this work, could this be used as negative. And so the details of the algorithm really came out this time. The way of working got me more of the details, the nitty-gritty details, and not the rough view of, can you hijack somebody's images? Yes, now I know how to exactly do it in a lot of detail. Because I work for many publishers, for instance, and they have it done against them in some cases. So knowing all the details and combating it allowed me to deep dive in this topic. So image hijacking is one of those topics that I really know a lot about right now. Site speed, it really allowed me to deep dive in that. The intent updates, part of the core updates, and the helpful content update, which recently run. Those are all in sync with something we've seen, but now we know a lot of nitty-gritty details because the patterns weren't there last year. So when we had the last SEO Underground, the patterns weren't as clear as they are now. So now we are able to reverse engineer it and even use it on our competitors in one way or another.
Intriguing. And of course, you've been doing it at scale, I guess, because you said you've got this group. So you're probably getting clearer results than, me working on my own, doing it with 3 to 5 sites. It's not
the great thing is I have so many Search Console groups of clients that I can easily see, did this also affect these guys in the past? And then if we try something new, we can see, does it work everywhere, and does it work in the same way everywhere, or is there distinction between all these, for instance, verticals that they operate in?
Wow. That's very, very interesting, the whole concept that you're talking about there. So let's just have a little scenario. We spoke about the helpful content change. there's been lots and lots of people who have been affected by some big drops in their visits. So what would be the first thing that you would check? Let's say that somebody came to you and said, Peter, I had this site, it was getting loads and loads and loads of visits, it was getting 100,000 visits a month, and it's dropped now to 15,000 visits a month. Where would I start? What would you suggest that I do?
One tool that you really need is something that reports historic ranking of everybody, not just your own website.
Right.
So double check, number one is, has anybody else been affected, and have particular websites benefited exactly around the same moment in time? So if you didn't change anything yourself, because that's often the case with these updates, these recent updates, you didn't change anything, just the world's view on you apparently changed.
Yeah.
And what happened? So are there external stuff? Is there external stuff that we can rule out, or is there external stuff that we can see as a commonality with everybody that's dropped and everybody that's gained a couple of positions? Because Ahrefs, for instance, shows a historic timeline, and if you type a query, you can see the historic timeline for all those other results. Have they switched pages? Have they switched content? If you look into the archive.org, have they changed anything? So if you rule out a lot of things, you see, okay, this is also hit people either similar than you, or as dissimilar to the ones that benefited as you. Because that's often the case. It's not that you did something wrong. No, other websites of a certain type of answer received a bonus.
Right. Interesting. So you feel that it's been more kind of aligning the type of content plus the quality of the content plus all the other things that we know about.
So if you literally take the search quality evaluator guidelines and turn them into an algorithm, that is what's happening. So they are increasingly able to do this with a machine, instead of having human raters and evaluators say, this was the intent behind the query, this is the answer that is provided, and this is how this piece of content answers the question that's behind the query. And then step one is knowing what a query intent is.
Yeah.
And then sort of identifying answer types. So do all these pages look the same? Do they have particular aspects within their answer that all of the benefiting guys have and the guys that dropped lack?
Yeah.
And you can often identify those. So having a tool that does this reverse engineering of ranking effect on a larger scale is then the first thing. So we even created a lot of tooling. So we tried to figure out, okay, where in the timeline of a lot of queries that we just fed to the API, where in the timeline was there a large shift, and was there both positive and negative shift? And then can we identify what the templates parts of the landing page were? It's often the landing page, not the website that dropped. It's the landing page type that dropped. So you can easily reverse engineer that. It's not domains that drop. No, sometimes it's CNN that gains a lot of positions. Sometimes it's CNN that drops a couple of positions. Yeah. But it's both CNN. Why have they gained on some, and why have they dropped on others? Because the intent was a mismatch with the answer they gave. And their answer is often news, and sometimes sort of a top list or a piece of information where you have a step-by-step guide, but often-wise, it's news. And if news is not the answer type Google's looking for, then it dropped. And it's no longer the newsworthy timeline in which news gets a bonus or drops. No, it's much more than that. At the moment, it's news in a certain format for a certain kind of news query.
Yeah. It's interesting because you said about templates, and I'd heard you say it a couple of times that actually it could now just be that a template that you set up for a particular type of content now misses out on some very, very key aspects.
And those key aspects are often blocks of content. Yeah. So the blocks of content in that format are recognized as that format, and whatever you put in there. My tests, for instance, have shown that whatever I put in there, even if it's gibberish. So, for instance, a page that requires reviews at the moment doesn't require the reviews to be about the product, the seller, the type of product or whatever. It could just be reviews how happy people are in life.
Right.
It will increase or diminish your ranking just having the block.
Right.
So the testing then comes down to, okay, do we actually have reviews? And the client said, yeah, it's hard with us. We're selling car insurances, and a lot of reviews, actual reviews about our company are negative. So I said, okay, then we're going to write the reviews about being insured. Or having an all-risk insurance in general instead of having your all-risk insurance package.
Yeah. Being insured is a good thing.
It's a good thing. So I'm lucky that I'm insured. Or I wasn't insured for a while when I, for instance, wrecked my whatever car.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. So if you can't write it about the actual thing because there simply isn't anything positive to write about it, write it about something that you can positively spin to.
At this point in time, Google doesn't look at the answer itself. It looks at, are you providing the right answer in the right format as part of the entire answer? So there's certain aspects that apply to certain types of queries. So having reviews is one of those, and having textually written reviews is, for instance, a main part of a product listing, product detail page.
Right.
So an integral part of a lot of product detail page queries, where a product detail page also gained a lot of positions. The main difference between you and your competitors that also have a product detail page is having the written out reviews on the page itself. And hopefully those are, supposedly those are reviews about the product itself, but it could be about the generic product category.
Yes. The doing the thing rather than the owning the thing or the
And they need to seem unique to the page that is offering the reviews, but that's it. It's not that you're supposed to review that individual product.
Right. Brilliant. Love it.
So that's where the algorithm is hopefully going to become smarter and smarter, but at the moment it's having the right answer type instead of having the right answer.
Interesting. That is interesting. So Peter, you're talking on the 4th of October. We're really looking forward to seeing what you're going to come up with this year, because last year, as I say, it was definitely a showstopper. You were on first, and everybody's jaws didn't close probably for the first half of the day. So that was pretty impressive. So I've got to ask you, what are you going to be talking about this year?
Even though at the moment is the best time for opinion sculpting, because there's all these negative things happening. So the economy is down. But that's the best time for instance, new investments in energy, in arms deals, in all these other things. And I used to do reputation management and opinion sculpting for those, where the politics were able to choose for a certain type of energy in a certain country. For instance, choose more investment in windmill parks, choose for more investment in nuclear energy, and move away from Russia. But then, for instance, should you then buy oil from Nigeria, or should you buy gas from Algeria or whatever? At the moment, there's so much negative stuff around the internet for those guys that would be the ideal thing to start dabbling in. Where the economy is down, there's always somebody benefiting, and that's at the moment these guys I used to work for. But sorry, guys, I'm going to share something totally different.
Okay.
I'm going to share something hopefully that applies to more people, because last time it was an inspirational session, but probably very few people dabble in the same industry. A lot of the attendees either have an online casino or an online comparison website, lead gen website, things like that. And that where, I can give more applicable stuff. I did a lot of algorithm testing last year, a lot of it. And all those findings can be used for positive and for negative. And now I'm going to show you what the underlying algorithm is, how it works. And I'm going to exemplify it by using the examples how to use it against your competitors. So you can use it for positive, you can learn from it, but it also can easily hurt your competitors. And the testing we did was mainly to figure out, okay, how does this work? And using it for negative was much easier to show, okay, this is what the algorithm actually does, than using it for positive. So I'm sharing all this negative stuff. And the good thing about negative SEO is it could not work. In some cases, it could not work. But opposed to other black hat and gray hat tactics, they will never hurt you because it's not easy or not even possible to reverse engineer who's behind the negative activities. So you don't need to own a website yourself. You can negatively impact the technical aspects of your competitor, the textual aspects of your competitor, the link aspects of your competitor without being the owner of that website, or without any control over their website itself. And I'm going to clarify how that is done.
Wow. That certainly sounds like a big knowledge bomb coming our way. It
Hopefully.
certainly sounds, that sounds very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, Peter, that leaves me to say thank you very much for taking time out of your time in Bali and talking to me today. For those of you who haven't booked yet, SEO Underground is on the 4th of October. We've got some sessions on the 3rd of October. Mr. Peter van der Graaf has also volunteered to be one of those session holders as well. So get booking on those. But we will look forward to seeing you, Peter, on the 4th of October. And we hopefully will see you as well on the 4th of October. Leaves me to say thank you very much, Peter van der Graaf, for taking the time to talk to me. And I look forward to seeing you in October.
Thank you. See you on